Thank you for checking out my summary, review, and catalog of Radiant Black Issue 2. Not much to introduce here, so here's the video. Picking right back up after issue 1, we see Nathan return back home at dawn. He tries to quietly go to his room, but his dad, who's already up, stops him and offers Nathan some breakfast. Before they can enjoy their cereal, Nathan's dad decides to add some awkward tension to breakfast and asks Nathan if Marshall mentioned any possible job opportunities. Nathan tries to deflect the topic by asking if Marshall was looking for a job, to which Nathan's dad lopes back at him, "No, I meant for you." I assume a lot of people have had this exact conversation with their parents, and man, I feel for Nathan. Nathan's dad presses him to reveal his actual situation and if he's okay financially. Also, like everyone else, he lies and says everything's fine. Nathan tries to appease his dad by mentioning that something amazing came up, and optimistically says that this new opportunity can help him. Reasonably, however, Nathan's dad asks what the pay is like, to which Nathan begrudgingly says it doesn't pay. Nathan's dad then heavily insists that Nathan at least does more rideshare jobs, just to actually have income. The conversation on display here is what I imagine a lot of creative kids and young adults have gone through, having your parents give you a reality check when the thing you're passionate about isn't a sustainable career, and urge you to either put it on hold or give up on it entirely. Nathan's dad ends the uncomfortable conversation by saying that Nathan can stay home as long as he wants, but he has to work, and that those are the rules. On the other side of town, we see Marshall at his job at a video store trying to pitch to a customer their bath bomb, What Lies Beneath CBD special when the two cops from the last issue show up at his job. Suddenly, we're shown this.
Radiant. Radiant. Radiant.
We see a very faint silhouette of a mechanical being, and it appears to be repeating a word. In a pretty neat Easter egg, if you were to go to the Radiant.Black website and scroll down to the bottom of the page and click on this string of symbols, you get a translation of the page in the Radiant cipher. Using this, we can see that the symbols translate to Radiant. Go figure. We next see Nathan waking up to find himself hovering over his bed and the black hole floating beside him. After calling back the black hole, Nathan is greeted by the cops at his front door, with a guilty Marshall behind them. To make matters look even worse, Nathan's mom stumbles upon the scene. The cops, who we learn are officers Peters and Mills, break the tension by telling Nathan's mom that he's actually a hero. They tell her that he saved the drunk man from getting hit by a train last night, and that they just need an official statement from him. When Nathan and the cops are alone, the cops bring up the real reason why they're there. They question Nathan about the powers and if he works with the other one. Nathan tells the truth that last night was the very first time he's ever done that, and is confused by what the cops mean by the other one. The cops then show Nathan footage of that radiant red that we saw at the end of issue 1. Nathan tells the cops that he thought he was the only one, and to my surprise, the cops tell Nathan, "Well, you're the only one we've got." And they also tell him that a guy like you could be really helpful to the community, more than implying that Nathan should do something related to this. Usually, it's the heroes who are also on the run from cops themselves, so seeing law enforcement actually give the okay here is pretty interesting and refreshing. After the cops leave, Nathan and Marshall talk about whether or not if Nathan should actually go after Red. Nathan's a little reluctant about the idea considering he just got his powers just hours ago. In the end, Nathan agrees to pursue Radiant Red in the hope that he might have some answers about the black hole. To gather information that can help him find Red, Nathan has the clever idea to ask the passengers from his rideshare gig. In a pretty funny montage, Nathan hopelessly asks random passengers if they know anything about the bank robberies. Nathan finally gets lucky when a passenger mentions he might have seen the red guy suit up at a junkyard. Upon arriving, Nathan transforms into Radiant Black. I know I just made a joke, but it actually does say transform. In a new showcase of powers, we see Red disintegrating and absorbing a car engine. What does this mean? Does the red variant need to be fed inorganic material to function? Does the blue one too? Just how different are the two black holes, assuming Red has his own? Anyways, Nathan does a dumb thing and approaches Red while mentioning the cops, which grants him an uppercut. Nathan tries to reason with Red, saying it's just a misunderstanding, but it doesn't help that Nathan accidentally launches Red backwards with what I think is a force push. Red throws a car at Nathan and just beats the shit out of him. After Red is finished with Nathan, he walks off with some duffel bags. Nathan gets back up and tries to make a joke, but he realizes that Red just jacked his car, which prompts him to drop the F-bomb. It's subtle, but Nathan is starting to learn the Radiant language. Nathan flies after Red. It's worth mentioning the differences of abilities here. I guess Nathan can fly, but Red can't? Anyways, Nathan pleads with Red to give him back his car, which is his only source of income. But Red doesn't care for the gig economy and careens Nathan's car off a bridge. To Nathan's credit, he uses his gravity powers to catch the car before it crashes, and, in an impressive move, he catches and pulls the duffel bags off of Red. Red is forced to flee without his goods. After Nathan safely lands his car, he checks the contents of the duffel bags and sees that they are filled with cash. For a moment, Nathan is filled with excitement, having been given an answer to all of his problems. But we see Nathan's principles on display here when he realizes he should give the money back. That was probably the hardest blow he took all day. At the crime scene of the bank robbery, Nathan drops off the cash with a note in true friendly neighborhood fashion. Sometime later, Nathan returns home in the early morning. His dad, like before, was waiting for him, but this time Nathan starts the conversation. He admits to his dad that he was right. He should be working in the meantime, and that writing can be fruitless at times. Nathan tells his dad that he still needs to dedicate time to write nonetheless. The only way he can find out if he's a writer is to keep writing. He tells his dad he'll keep up the rideshare job, but that he'll also dedicate 1 or 2 days for writing. Nathan's dad is relieved to hear this and congratulates Nathan on having initiative. The focus of this issue was obviously the dynamic between Nathan and his father. Although Nathan's dad seemed unfair towards Nathan's dreams, he only wanted to see Nathan have a plan or some confidence. Parents just want to see their kids have the ability to move forward with confidence and a plan. The issue ends on a high note when Nathan gets an email from the rideshare company saying he earned $200 tonight, which grants him extra raisins. Issue 2 overall was great. It expanded on more characters and their relationships, and we got our first superhero fight. I heard some people didn't like the filler dialogue in this issue, but to me, it wasn't filler. It was necessary for Nathan's character and adds depth to the world. That's all I really have to say, so thank you for your time, and thank you for watching.